can't believe people have the audacity to do something like that.
I'm sure if you are an NEMT provider and this has happened to you, heck, if you are an NEMT driver and you've done this, I need you to tap in the comment section, okay? Welcome back to NEMT Band Talks. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Monica.
And we're the owners of an NEMT business located right here in California. Now today we are going to talk about something very juicy and interesting.
Oh my God.
So I had a consultation with the NEMT business owner, and she asked me, how do we ensure that our drivers are not doing unauthorized trips?
What you mean unauthorized? Explain it to me.
Girl, when I heard it, it kind of threw me back too, but I did recall having this conversation with another provider many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what she was saying is that she has a speculation that her drivers are doing trips outside of what the company is being compensated for.
I wish a driver would.
I said, girl, we don't have that problem, but
girl,
here's my advice to you. So we're going to talk about this today because it does happen. It has happened. It's still happening. And so you need to be aware, because this is one of the many integrals and sneaky things that drivers can do within your business. So, ultimately, let's talk about it. Drivers doing unauthorized trips. So let's kind of define like what an unauthorized trip is, right?
Let's start there.
So we all know when we talk about starting our NEMT business, we talk about branding, we talk about marketing, we talk about hiring drivers that can represent your business. Well, in all of that, our drivers have their cards. Sometimes their cards may have, actually, I encountered an NEMT business. I walked up to one of the drivers and got a card, and it had the driver's information on there, right? So,
but I wouldn't put that.
Yeah, but there are business owners that do put the driver's information, like the driver's number, because they want to make it seem more personable, which I don't agree with. You should absolutely have your 800 number on those business cards, and not the driver personal number.
Yeah, you creating right there an opportunity for something to happen. You just created a moment, because the next time that individual need a trip, who they're gonna call first?
Yep. They're gonna call that driver. In the end, you may have charged that passenger $150 for that ride, but since this trip is unauthorized, the driver may say, just give me a call next time and I'll pick you up for $50. But you know what? I've been in an Uber before where the Uber driver gives me his personal card and said, don't schedule it through Uber, just call me directly.
I have had that happen to me before. Same thing.
Yeah. Same thing. So what the driver is doing is taking on an unauthorized wheelchair, and I'm just saying wheelchair trip in your wheelchair van under your NEMT insurance.
Girl.
And you don't know about it as an NEMT business owner, because you are not looking at those logs. You're not using any type of GPS tracking system on your vehicles to see where your
hold on. Okay. So
girl, it gets me upset.
I know. But okay, so this provider that you spoke to, is she sure that is happening, or she just have speculation?
She's not. She says she's not sure, but she speculates. She thinks that it's happening. So we talked about some strategies that she could do to be
okay. So I like that. Okay, so the strategies that should be in place to make sure that this is not happening. One of the things you mentioned, right? Making sure you're reviewing that trip log
for inconsistencies,
right? But then also think about this too. How often are you pulling up on your drivers to see what's happening? And not just to make sure that they're picking up, clients, taking them to from their medical appointments, but observing how they're engaging, how they're interacting, how they're loading those wheelchairs. Are they rushing? All of those things. And so that give you an idea to see firsthand what they're doing. And then I also think, like, if you see a lot of downtime and gaps,
discrepancies, yeah,
you should be automatically filling in that space with some work to do. So that should not be happening, right? You don't want to leave any room for error or to allow those opportunities to take place. And then also just with the business card, I will reevaluate that, you know.
Yeah. You definitely shouldn't have your
drivers listed.
Your driver's phone number listed on the business card. You're absolutely right. But, you know, I just think very early on during the hiring process and your policies and procedures, we need to start putting that in there. If you do this, this is the consequence. We do not authorize you transporting any unauthorized trips that were not established through our agency.
Yeah, there should be a clause in it.
Yeah. Because when it's time to let him go for doing what he doing, that whole little sneaky mess, he can't go to no attorney and say I was wrongfully terminated. No, it clearly states right here in the policy that we do not authorize any unauthorized trip. How dare you pick up somebody in my van under my insurance?
But here's the thing, that just, because I've never heard this happen before, but that's also like,
yes, you have, girl. It's just been a long time.
It probably has, but I'm just thinking like, I mean, all because I can't even believe people have the audacity to do something like that.
I'm sure if you are an NEMT provider and this has happened to you, heck, if you are an NEMT driver and you've done this, I need you to tap in the comment section, okay? Because it's going on. I 100% guarantee this is going on in our community.
Girl, just don't bring it our way. Because I'm telling you now, if you stepping in and playing with my coins.
Wait a minute. Watch what you say, because this is being recorded. We don't want no lawsuits if it was to happen. No threats.
You know, I'm from Georgia.
Okay.
I'm just joking. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, but also,
girl, can you imagine you pull up on the drive, you doing your little surveillance, you see the driver with a wheelchair trip, he's supposed to be at the car wash or something, and you see him doing a wheelchair trip, you pull up, girl, I'm hopping out.
Wait, hold on. Wait, before you hop out, you gotta look at the manifest, and you don't see, you know, do your due diligence first, or you hop out. You looking for Miss Jones, and you hop out and be like, what?
What's going on here?
Oh,
Miss Jones,
girl.
I don't see you on our schedule. Did you schedule through the 800 number, or how did you schedule this ride?
But yeah.
So do you allow the driver to drop Miss Jones off?
Yeah, you do, cause you still represent. What, you can't leave Miss Jones there in the
Miss Jones, I'm gonna go ahead and take a payment for the additional $125 that you owe my company for this ride.
That's Miss Jones' fault though.
I mean, but it ain't his car though.
Yeah, but that ain't Miss Jones' fault.
It ain't his car though. So
y'all,
good cop versus bad cop. But Miss Jones knew that she was supposed to call that 800 number, but she ended up calling John.
If Miss Jones,
she was trying to be sneaky too.
Okay, but anyway, listen. The reality of this is, if this is happening and taking place, like, honestly, as business owners, we need to make sure we're doing our due diligence. We need to make sure that we are honestly looking at, and even going as far as looking at the mileage on your vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the distance, but you know, when you're looking at the trip log, like, you have to monitor those things as well, to make sure that those things are not happening within your business. You can't just feel like this is a good driver, they wouldn't do me that way, because you just never know.
Yeah. And then a lot of the scheduling softwares like MediRoutes also offer, you know, for your driver, when they're doing the vehicle inspections, to put the mileage in there. You have the GPS tracking capability, so you can see your vehicle in real time. So you know, if you have a concern that this may be happening to you, or you just want to play it safe, definitely invest in the scheduling software and look for a software that offers GPS tracking features and some of the other things. But also, you know, we have to work on keeping our drivers busy. Yeah. You know,
that's the bottom line. That's what I'm saying too. Like, there shouldn't be room in their schedule that allow them to have that much time to accommodate another trip. Because if that's the case, then you need to be filling in those gaps with some other opportunities.
And back to those trip logs. Like, don't just look. You got to study those trip logs to make sure that the times make sense. Because if it's consistent discrepancies, then that could potentially you may have a sneaky one on your hands. Okay.
And then sometimes they'll slip up and call too, because they may, what if they try to call, I'm just making up a name, Eric, as a driver, and then they call the 1-800 number trying to schedule a trip. I'm like, well, Eric charged me $100 last week, and now you're charging me XYZ, and it's like, wait a minute. So you got to look for those phone calls and those conversations. Like, you have to pay attention to that as well, because they will slip up and tell you as well. Yeah. But,
so what happens when you do discover that your driver is, getting unauthorized trips, taking on unauthorized trips, and is getting compensation for those rides, and those rides are not they're not coming from the company, they're coming from something. What do you do? Like, okay, you take disciplinary actions, right? So you have to think about that, right? You should put that in your policy. What is the first step? What is the second step? Or are you going to give a warning? Are you going to give, I personally, of course, you want to find out what the situation was, what happened, right? Because we want to give them a benefit of the doubt.
I'm still trying to wait till what's your first step, because
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you probably want to give warnings, but
shady. No, in this situation, absolutely not. But because you big on fire for being 10 minutes late, like, that time is money is time. But in this case, absolutely, I would be on the same page with you. Termination immediately. But
because you can't, how can you continue to work with someone?
You can't trust them.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want me to trust them. But you made a really valid point. Is each time we learn things, we always have to go back and modify some things. So that may mean you have to go back and modify your
policies.
Your policy, your employment application, and then you're not gonna be able to catch and cover everything, but things that that are happening within your business that you feel like, I need to put something in place just to protect myself. It's just always important to go back.
And even for me, like, I know, like, we may say, like, okay, train and continue to retrain, but I feel like you don't want to keep throwing this topic up over and over again, because it may be like, oh, green light, like, let me do this, you know what I'm saying? It may give them an idea to do something sneaky like that. So that's why I said address it very early on during the hiring stage, and then be done with it. You know what I'm saying?
And let them know that you're paying attention. Like, you're not this boss that's hands off type deal. Like, you're very involved, even if it's on the outside looking in, like you're hands on within your business.
And I know, like, also sometimes it's hard for us to, like, find good drivers. So when we do find good drivers, we tend to be very, like, sensitive to our drivers' needs, whatever they want, whatever they need. We want to be there to support them. But at the end of the day, we still have a job to do. And we can't let people walk over us. So I think there's we should kind of balance the two, as far as, like, being supportive of our employees, but also letting them know that I support you, but I'm also a business owner, and my top priority is my business, but also I'm looking at everything that's going on in my business. Because when they feel that you are not watching and keeping track, that's when they start taking advantage. So we did want to bring this to your attention, because this has happened in the community, NEMT community, and so you need to be aware. Because we need all of our money flowing into our business. We don't need drivers trying to be sneaky and all that stuff. No.
And if you're not currently implementing any of these things we just mentioned, like if you're not auditing your trip log, if you don't have GPS tracking, like, you probably want to invest in some of these systems to prevent this from happening within your business. And it's just simple things, but you definitely should take a look at it to make sure these things are not happening right in your business.
All right.